Hello and welcome, my dear friend. There are moments in your life that may appear ordinary, even disappointing, but in the unseen realm, they registered as a spiritual earthquake. You have already experienced one of those moments. You didn't plan it, you didn't understand it at the time, and you didn't know what it meant. Yet it sent a shockwave through the heavens and cracked open something that had been locked for generations. And it didn't happen because you shouted or tried to prove anything. It happened because you made a decision no one expected, not the people around you, not even the forces watching you in the spirit. You chose something that had never been chosen in your bloodline before. You responded to your pain in a way that didn't repeat the old pattern. You turned away from a past that kept calling your name. And that single move changed the entire spiritual arrangement around your life. Most people believe spiritual cycles break with dramatic displays, but heaven doesn't move because of noise. It moves because of alignment. And what you did, quietly, courageously, maybe even with trembling hands, aligned so deeply with truth that it shattered spiritual agreements that were never meant to be yours. Let me make this deeply personal. You were never meant to live under that emotional torment, that guilt, that shame, that inner punishment disguised as discipline. That wasn't correction, it was a generational lie, pretending to be a lesson. And when you stopped agreeing with it, even silently, the spiritual contract expired right there. You didn't just heal yourself, you disarmed something that had claimed authority over your entire lineage. Even though you felt the change inside, heaven needs you to fully accept it so your outer world can reflect it. Here's what most people don't understand. Spiritual patterns are ancient. They run their course until someone interrupts them, not with perfection, not with performance, but with purity. And that is exactly what you did. You made a decision, or perhaps just paused long enough, to choose love over ego, stillness over revenge, boundaries over begging. Almost no one saw it, but God did. Heaven saw you pause instead of retaliating. Heaven saw your whispered prayer when you had every reason to choose pettiness. Heaven saw you walk away without needing to win. And that is the moment heaven shifted the system for you, because sometimes the entire pattern resets because one person refuses to follow the old script. And the God who honors internal alignment more than outward appearance said, reroute their story. Yes, your single soul-level decision rearranged what was scheduled because what you did signaled to the heavens that you were ready for more than survival. You were ready for spiritual authority, not just freedom for yourself, freedom that opens doors for those who come after you. You thought you were just surviving a storm, but you were rewriting the weather patterns for generations. This kind of divine shift doesn't reward you with comfort, it grants you access. And here's something astonishing. Spiritual laws, ancestral rhythms, generational echo patterns, they repeat until someone chooses differently. And you did. When heaven saw that choice, God said, make an exception. Release the blessing early. A new leader in the lineage has emerged. This wasn't favoritism, it was divine trust. You weren't chosen because you were better. You were chosen because you were available, because you didn't numb out, because you refused to weaponize your pain, because you kept your heart open when shutting down would have been easier. You held the line even when no one applauded. But heaven was keeping score. Now the systems that once delayed you are being dismantled. The patterns that once pulled you backward are searching for a new host because you're no longer available to repeat them. You're not beneath them anymore, you're above them. And the moment you chose not to repeat what wounded you, something ancient broke. Let this truth settle deeply. The things your parents apologized for but couldn't stop. The wounds your grandparents normalized. The silent heaviness you felt long before you had words for it. All of it was waiting for one person to say, it ends here. And you said it not with words, but with your walk, your restraint, your refusal to become what hurt you. You stepped away from something old and into a covenant that had been waiting for someone new. This is why everything feels unfamiliar. Not because you're lost, but because you're walking in territory no one taught you how to navigate. Your ancestors dreamed of these fields. You're standing in them, and strangely, it feels quiet. Not dramatic, but deeply still, like you're finally breathing your own air. This is what it feels like when a spiritual system breaks. You may still feel tired. You may question whether your decision even mattered, but the atmosphere around you already knows. The people who once triggered you now feel distant, spiritually distant. Their grip has broken. You used to spiral. Now you pause. You used to explain yourself. Now your silence is enough. You used to brace for conflict. Now you walk away before it even begins. That isn't apathy, it's mastery. The kind that is forged in silence, not spotlight. Picture this: a hallway inside your soul, filled with doors representing the patterns you inherited or absorbed. Self-doubt, emotional debt, never enough. You walked that hallway believing those were the only rooms available to you. But now, because of that one unseen decision, those old doors are dissolving. And ahead of you is a new door with your name on it, not labeled new season or answered prayer, but first of its kind. Because that's who you are now. The first to feel the pain and not pass it on. The first to walk through fire and keep your spirit intact. The first to say no to chaos and yes to peace. Peace no one modeled for you. This road is harder. There's no script. No one cheering from behind saying, "You're doing great." But heaven is roaring. And now, blessing is coming not as a reward, but as recognition. God saw your restraint when you were betrayed. He saw your emotional intelligence when destruction would have been easier. He saw you acting from identity, not injury. And heaven said, "That's enough. Shift the pattern. Bring the new blueprint." What's coming isn't just favor, it's foundation. You didn't simply break something, you built something new. Every quiet decision to protect your peace. Every moment you stopped chasing validation. Every time you loved without keeping score. It all became architecture. Heaven began constructing a legacy with your silence. Your life is now echoing in realms you cannot see, not as noise, but as permission. You are the reason someone else will choose differently. You're the living proof that love can interrupt any cycle. Now the shift is moving into the physical. Opportunities may look random, but they're not. New doors will open because your spirit carries clearance it didn't have before. What used to be repetitive is now irrelevant. So, if life feels quiet, if things look unfamiliar, if old triggers feel weak and new peace feels foreign, don't worry. You're not confused, you're reborn. The old grip is broken and your new path is unfolding. And remember this, you didn't just break the cycle, you became the reason God made an exception. In the moment when everything could have gone backward, you moved forward quietly, decisively, powerfully. And heaven said, "Build the future on that." Thank you for taking this journey with me. If this message resonated, please like, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe to stay connected. Your awakening continues. Choose the next video that calls to your spirit. I'll see you there.